rabbit hole. Have you guys ever considered that the Dems might actually have resigned the fact that Trump is actually going to win? Kamala's not going to win. She can't win. She can't even, when the teleprompter goes off, all she can just repeat 32 weeks. Ha ha ha, 32 weeks. I don't know how to lead. I don't know how to freestyle. But now they're fast tracking to World War III with an economic crash, and I think they're trying to dump it on Trump. It's just a thought, and it's just a possibility. But we're going to listen to the Tim podcast and just hear this, and I'll catch you guys at the end.
You know, it kind of just clicked for me, actually, Tim, when you asked that. I think there might be a very strong case to be made that they're actually aware that Trump is going to win, and what they're doing is they're getting World War III started, so he has to deal with that. They just started cutting rates in the economy, so there will be a crazy crash recession thing. It's like that just always will follow what we're doing there in the economy. So it looks more like what might be happening is they're setting up the worst possible administration for him to deal with, so they can run their media wheels on him again and divide the nation further and try to do a rerun of his first presidency, and hopefully then capitalize on that division after that.
I agree. I think the escalations in the Middle East and Ukraine may be intentional because they want Trump to inherit a war that he cannot get out of. Mm-hmm. They want Trump to inherit an economy where they can say, we warned you. I take a look at Afghanistan, and simply, it makes no sense. There's literally no reason to abandon Bagram Air Force Base in your withdrawal. Yep. They could have handled all their evacuations through Bagram. Then once they got their evacuations out, the interpreters, the U.S. men and women could be circling around Bagram and then evacuate and leave a small contingent in to maintain air logistics and support so the Taliban doesn't overrun everything. Instead, they abandoned Bagram in the middle of the night without telling anybody. Locals just started looting and raiding the Air Force Base for whatever they could. Makes no sense. They tried doing evacuations in this urban center. Chaos. A bomb goes off. They said that there were pilots in the Afghan security forces who were landing and just abandoning their helicopters because there was no logistics, no radio support anymore. That sounds like it was on purpose. Yeah. And I don't know if it was, but the theory that goes around online is that they wanted to punish the Trump administration and the American people for abandoning this project. That they were going to try and make an example where they can say, see, we can't just leave because we don't want Afghanistan again. I'm sure they'll say something very similar with Israel or Ukraine or Taiwan.
Sure.
Ukraine. Yeah. Oh, no, but if we leave Ukraine, look what happened to Afghanistan. I think it's on purpose. Now I look at what's going on now, and I'm wondering if it's similar, where they're going to say, okay, we're going to lose this one. Let's make sure Trump inherits a steaming pile of crap of an economy and war, and then we can blame him for it, go to the American people and say, see, we told you so.
Yeah, but I mean, even if they blame him for it, he's going to get it fixed up, and then J.D. Vance is going to be like, hey, look at me. I'm ready for another 8 years.
I think he's more ready to fix it up than they give him credit for. Like, I think that Trump actually is well established to solve this crisis in the Middle East.
And I think he's finally got a good team around him, too.
Exactly.
Well, they did do that to Trump with the China virus stuff, where he was leaving, and they're like, hey, you had a crappy economy, and now we made it great just because we have jobs coming back. In this situation, it's like he's coming in the beginning, so he can actually fix it instead of on his way out, they make a problem.
You know, there's another key factor here that's different this time, and that's X. Mm-hmm. Last time, 100%. We had no true free speech platform in order to counter the narrative. And they had all the censorship locked down.
The FBI worked
and
with
so
the
that
Twitter
division,
platform.
exactly, that division was powerful. Mm-hmm. And we saw it as soon as Biden took office, just the insanity of the left versus the right and the different sets of facts they're all living in. But even today, the mainstream media is having to report on X's reporting because X is reporting the truth before anyone else can cover the stories. And so when you have that fundamental free speech dynamic overlaying them trying to smear Trump throughout a 4 years of him fixing all these problems that they created, that might be actually like they might be setting themselves up for a serious failure that they have not foreseen.
And, you know, with X changing like that and Elon Musk taking a stand like that, we even saw over the summer Mark Zuckerberg kind of like backing off his previous thing. He said that he wasn't going to be giving a ton of money to any political campaign, specifically Democrats, who he gave a ton of money to last time. He called Trump after the assassination attempt and said that he was, you know, and then in an interview said that he was badass for doing that. He brought on a Republican, for fight. He brought on a Republican strategist, and he said that he was more libertarian
well, yeah,
than anything.
That's a good point. Zuckerberg should still go on trial.
Sure, it
but you're right.
Totally
it is sick.
But like to have Elon Musk stand up and take all those slings and arrows, it made it so that Zuckerberg could in the background be like, "Oh, hey everybody, hey, let's go."
And there is some truth to that. And I think that kind of got a little bit derailed, but no, there's some legitimacy behind this. So if we're going to think about There's two different things that I want to talk about in this. At least the Hillary Clinton aspect, where we've seen her come out on video where she's saying that they need to rein in social media so that they can actually control it, that they're losing control over it. And that should just alarm everybody who's in here, that the politicians and the bureaucracy want to control the media so they control what you hear. That is no different than North Korea. Legitimately none. That should terrify you to no ends. And in fact, it should infuriate you so much so that not a single vote should go for the left. There will be, and there'll be fake votes because the immigrants that come in with non-documented IDs that can vote. But then we also have the idea where now we have X, this new platform that is completely wild west. It's free speech. It's ran by Elon, who's like a free speech absolutist, who you get the good and the bad, but at the end of the day we have to be adults, and you also have to take ownership of your life, of what are you consuming, what do you believe, and also you have to have the smarts and the wherewithal to have your own opinion, listen to someone else's, compare it to yours, take the good from theirs, and then apply it to yours. And now you've changed and grown as a person. But I don't want to bring up, the Hillary thing without some type of evidence. Censorship. I'm just going to type in Hillary Clinton censorship, and look, first things that are coming up. When you hear this is insane. This is actually insane.
We should be, in my view, repealing something called Section 230, which gave platforms on the internet immunity because they were thought to be just pass-throughs, that they shouldn't be judged for the content that is posted. But we now know that that was an overly simple view, that if the platforms, whether it's Facebook or Twitter X or Instagram or TikTok, whatever they are, if they don't moderate and monitor the content, we lose total control. And it's not just the social and psychological effects, it's real harm. We should be, in my view, repealing.
We're losing control. They admitted it. Hillary Clinton says they will lose control if social media like X isn't engaged in censorship. The left wants to control the narrative through censorship. I mean, they're saying the quiet parts out loud now, and it's actually insane that people are brainwashed enough to think that they have their best interest in mind. They don't even know you. And to be honest, they probably don't even like you. They just are caring for themselves and their families, and everything that they're blaming the right for being narcissistic, for trying to lie, the misinformation. All they need, if you got one finger pointing at them, you got three more pointing back at you. They're literally doing 3 times the amount of BS and manipulation that they're accusing their opponent of doing. It's insane. It's actually insane.